but the negative thoughts, it starts bubbling up negative emotions, you know. And the more you go into the depths of that negative thought, the more negative emotions you begin to have, and before you know it, you're all an emotional chaotic discombobulation, right? So if we can reframe that negative thinking to avoid the going into the depths of the negative emotions that sometimes is completely uncalled for. Sometimes it's like we create this storm, like we say in Spanish. We create this complete storm in a glass of water, right? Um, so if we can shift and reframe that negative thought, that negative thinking before our negative emotion starts bubbling up, that's a very powerful tool that you can use to improve your mental state, to improve your emotions. Um, and if you can master that, the better. I mean, you know, of course, we're like in the midst of Negativeville, right? And that's a constant thing for all humanity. So if we can work on ourselves in that area and overcome so much and learn how to hoover maneuver this negative thinking, if we can reframe it, if we could shift all we can, you know, that's a very powerful skill. And if we can master it, even, you know, the better, the better. I mean, it's just, it's awesome. 8 simple steps to reframing our negative thinking. I want to remind everybody about the journaling. Okay, journaling. Remember, journaling is a very, very helpful skill. It helps you be more aware of where you're at in your own journey. It helps you be more aware of yourself, the way you start shifting your own energy, the way you start shifting your own thinking, you know, and it just helps you become more aware of yourself, and helps you analyze yourself. It helps you track your own progress. You know, I think journaling and writing, I mean, I call it journaling and writing, it's like the same thing, but you know what I mean. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing if you are serious about working on yourself, because it channels that negative stuff that we have stuck up in our heads all the time, or our emotions. You know, how we feel like we sometimes, when you're in this negative state of emotions, you're like, sometimes it feels like you can't breathe, right? So by you writing or journaling, it helps channel that energy. I mean, it helps me, and I'm pretty sure it helps everybody out there, you know, when you go to journaling, when you go to writing, because it's a very, very powerful tool that we can use to our advantage. So I just wanted to remind you about journaling. So you know, just write down these steps, and then go through them at your own pace. Go through them and dissect them yourself, and apply them as you know, as it feels right to you. Okay, because I can suggest whatever, but at the end of the day, the soul work that you're doing, it's you. You're doing it. I'm not doing it for you. You know, I'm just here to give you a helpful tool, a helpful reminder of what you can use to help your journey along, right? Okay, so let's move on. All right, number 1, catch the negative thinking, catch the negative thoughts. Call it out when you catch it, and the goal is to catch it as soon as it pops in your mind, and it starts advising you, because that's what it does. It advises us of, oh, look, this is so negative, and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth, and it just sprouts, right? Like a, I don't know, like a vine. If we can catch it, once you catch it and you're aware of it, then challenge it. Challenge that thought. When it starts telling you, okay, this is so negative, right? Challenge it, and ask yourself, is this negative thought based on facts or assumptions? Is this negative thought, once you catch it, is it based on real, true facts? Or is it based on you assuming facts. Because if you're assuming, that negative thought has no legs, that negative thought has no truths to it. You are assuming, meaning that you are not 100% sure that what your thought is telling you is true. So sometimes we drive ourselves crazy over a complete negative thought that is a total lie, right? And you can go on, sometimes people go on for days, for weeks, months, years, sometimes a whole lifetime, believing a lie, like just because they assumed a certain thing, right? And they got stuck on this negative thought that bubbled up, and they started assuming. So if you can catch the negative thought, question it. Is it based on facts, or is it based on assumptions? Is it helpful to me, or is it harmful to me, right? Because sometimes our own thinking, we're like punishing ourselves. We're like slowly torturing ourselves, and that's not cool, guys. That's not cool. So if we can catch the negative thought, challenge it, and ask yourself, is this based on truth, on real events, on real reality, or is it based on me assuming things? And everybody knows what assumption means, right? How we go into, we swim in deep sometimes. So if we can catch it and say, how is this, harmful to me? Is it helpful or harmful to me? And then replace it with a constructive thought. Replace it with a more balanced thought, coming from a more balanced perspective. That makes a big difference. But if we're not catching our negative thoughts, if we're not catching ourselves on the way we let our minds just spew free, we have no control. And if we cannot control our thinking, we cannot control our minds, we cannot control our entire being, because that's where your main control is at. Your mind, your thoughts, at every thought that bubbles up. If we can't control that, then we have no way of controlling ourselves in any situation. No matter what situation arises, you can be greatly challenged, be it in a negative way or in a positive way, because sometimes a negative way don't always look negative. Okay, let's be real. Sometimes we come across a circumstance, or a situationship, right, that does not look negative. It does not. And for that, I think we have to have discernment, right? We have to be able to discern. But how are we able to discern if we can't even catch the negative thinking? So shifting that negative belief, in not belief, but the thought when it comes up in our minds, just balancing it out. It don't matter what circumstance you find yourself in. It doesn't matter what situationship you find yourself in, or whatever is happening. If you can catch that negative thought before it grows legs, balance it out, in a constructive way, then you're able to control the outcome of that thought, and see it from a different perspective before it gets out of control. Because our negative thinking, most of our troubles that we get into is because of our negative thinking, basically. We get so stuck on the negative, and then we just assume all this stuff, and before you know it, it's a whole can of worms that opened up, right? But anyways, let's move on to number 2. Turn problems into opportunities. Okay, by shifting our focus from, let's say I have a flat tire, and I have everybody knows what a flat tire is, right? How we sometimes go into a panic, or it just, we let it get out of control. So before the negative thought starts growing legs, catch it, challenge it, and before it tells you, well, all this stuff right? Before it tells you what's wrong, challenge it and say, you know, don't say what's wrong. You can say like, come up with a solution before you get stuck on the negative, right? All right, I have a flat tire. Fact is, right? Fact is, I have a flat tire. Now, you can go into, oh, there's nobody here to help me. I have no, you know, tools to fix it with, or blah, 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 blah. You can go into the negative side real quick. But if you can catch it and not say and go into the what's wrong with this, go into the how do you call it? Uh, what can I learn from this? What can I gain from this? Or just go into fix it mode. I don't know. I call it the fix it mode. Where instead of going into doom's world, you go into the solution. That's what I was trying to say. You automatically shift that negative thought into solutionville, right? You start thinking, okay, I gotta find a solution, and use that to your gain. Use that, you know, instead of reinforcing the negative thought, you reinforce it and you shift it and you reframe it with a solution thought. You know, instead of wasting all your energy on boohoo, blah 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 blah, you can start using that and really working up that muscle into solutions. All right, well, I can do this and I can do this, or I can go this way, I can, you know, do this or that. But in order for you to go into the solution mode, you have to be able to catch the negative thought before it grows legs. Because once it starts sprouting, it's going to take you down a spiral. And then you're going to end up all pissed off. And then that, I mean, it affects your emotions real quick. It does not last. It don't take but sometimes a few seconds. So these negative thoughts, they have to be caught as soon as they pop up. If you can catch them and challenge it and shift it, then, you know, you got it. You got it. So instead of thinking, oh, it's a total failure, you know, of this and that, and then you go into boo and all kinds of shenanigans. No, let's bring it back, and instead of saying it failed, or I can't fix this flat tire because of this, because of that, no, reframe that thought, reframe it and say, okay, well, like sometimes I'll say to myself, and this is just me talking to me, right? Yep, you knew that was going to happen and you wasn't prepared. But in that way, it's like, I reinforce myself for some reason. That just triggers something in my mind that, okay, well, you wasn't prepared, but now you got to fix it. Let's go. You know, I don't know how that works with people, but I know that's the way my mind works. And of course, everybody knows how their mind works. And if you don't, it's time to start, you know, learning and catching how your mind goes into these into these problems, or just into going into solving things when you have life happening, period. So you can either grow from whatever happens to you on the daily basis, and instead of going into the negative, you can start reframing everything. You can start reframing all that negative thinking, shift it. You can grow from it every day. This gives you a bigger opportunity to grow, and the more you catch yourself, the more you're going to grow. The more you catch yourself on these negative thoughts, it's like a wonderful gym for you to exercise that mind of yours. It grows very, very strong if you start shifting and reframing that negative thinking. And I know everybody's dealing with different situations. You know, I'm just putting examples out here that might help somebody. But this starts as soon as you wake up in the morning, right? That negative thinking, it starts going. I mean, it's like you can't stop it. You really can't stop it. It's just it's part of life. I mean, that's what life does. So if we can catch it, challenge it, and see, is it based on facts or is it assumptions? And you get to choose if you wallow in that negative thought or not. You get to choose. You always have the choice to wallow and completely deflate yourself in the negative thought. And that doesn't end well most of the time or all the time. All right. Um, Number 3, use and instead of but. And this is why. Replacing the limiting language. It's very important because sometimes one little tiny word can shift your whole thought pattern. So instead of saying, I want to achieve this, but I'm not capable. I want to achieve this, but this and that and that. I want to have this goal, but I can't do it because blah, 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 blah. But that but has, again, it grows legs, right? It grows vines everywhere because it's like you're setting yourself up for excuses that are not based on facts, basically. So instead of saying but, let's say, I want to achieve this and I will find a way to achieve this goal. I will find a way. I want to achieve this or I want to set this goal and maybe I can do this and maybe I can try that. It's a big difference, and that's the same. It's a 3-letter word that gives you a whole different mind frame for it. You say but, you give room for excuses and all kinds of blockages, and you end up sabotaging yourself. You use and it's like you open yourself up to possibilities because you say, okay, well, I want to achieve that. That's where I want to end up. And I can use this, and I can use that, and I can use that, or maybe this and that and that. You have endless possibilities when you use the word and versus the word but. So that's a wonderful technique to use, instead of going into the negative spiral of but. Y'all know what I'm saying. I hope y'all do. So that's step number 3. Use and instead of but. That is a great word to strengthen your ability to shift that mind frame. The more you use and, I think it's a great tool to stay in a positive mind frame, right? Because if you automatically go into the buts about it, it's like you shut yourself down. Your mind goes into shutdown mode, and it goes into a really not good place. All right, step number 4. Excuse me, please. Practice gratitude. And I don't know how many out there are practicing gratitude on the daily basis, on the moment-to-moment awareness of it basis. But practicing gratitude is very, very important for the negative thinking. The more you practice gratitude, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like this magical thing happens. It's truly a magical thing, because you don't focus on the negative that's going on. You don't focus on the past or the future. It's like you stay in this constant present moment when you really go into your mind, and whenever you're bombarded by negativity everywhere or whatever's going on, you come into the present moment and say, thank you. Just be grateful that I'm still alive, I'm still breathing, and I'm in health, and I'm well, and you know, there's somebody out there that left this realm today, and I'm still here breathing healthily. Yeah, just going into that gratitude mode. And first, I think everybody should be grateful for having another breath, right? Because without another breath, you have nothing. You know, your breath, having gratitude for your breath is it's a beautiful thing, because you having breath, everything else is possible within this realm. I mean, that's just common sense to me. But anyways, the more you focus on gratitude, you focus on what is going right with your life. You know, you focus on, you start thinking what to be grateful for, and that just brings a whole different meaning to I don't know how to explain it. I wish I could explain it through words, and I have such a hard time every time I say this, and every time I come into the subject about gratitude. It's just, to me, it's an amazing thing to come completely aware of yourself, and come into this awareness of being grateful. Just your breath alone is this huge explosion of gratitude that it just, I don't know, it melts my heart to say, you know, I have another breath. I'm still breathing. I'm still here, and I can still do so much. And other people have not had that chance anymore. Today they didn't wake up. They didn't get all the way here, right? So just being grateful, it just brings you out of this negative thinking. It gets you out of turmoil of thinking negative, you know. And because when you get stuck on the negative thinking, it's like, I mean, everybody knows, you know, we go into whining and blah blah blah, and I mean, it's not a good state to be in. So having that negative thought directed towards gratitude, it shifts your whole mentality. It shifts your whole energy in a way. Well, not in a way, but in more ways than one. So if you can catch that negative thought, and instead of feeding it butts, it'll allow it to grow legs and end up all distorted, you know. Catch it, and bring it into gratitude. Bring it into gratitude. Again, this example of the flat tire, you know. Be grateful that nothing happened, you know, that you're still whole. And if you're still breathing and you're whole, then what's a flat tire, right? What's a flat tire? I mean, it's nothing. So once you start shifting into gratitude, I don't know, your whole vibration, it just shifts. Being grateful for the present reality of what's really truly important now, like right now. It just, I don't know, it just does something to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm exaggerating this whole gratitude thing, but I don't think so. Gratitude is just a great way to shift your whole entire reality right now. Like, it does something to you in here. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, step number 5. Step into someone else's shoes. Oh boy. All right, so this one here. When you're having a negative thought, and let's say we have, that's our pattern, right? Let's say that this has been our pattern all our lives, and it's so difficult to shift that negative thinking, because once you start choosing to shift those negative thoughts, yeah, you're gonna have a big battle in your hands, because it takes a good bit. It takes a good while to you know, overcome and go into, you know, mastery of your own thinking. So when you become overwhelmed by these negative thoughts, step into someone else's shoes in the way of, imagine yourself how a compassionate friend, an empathetic friend or mentor or whoever you admire as a person that's, optimistic. Imagine yourself in those shoes. I'm not saying become them. I'm saying, just picture yourself in that way where you can, if you were them, what would you say to yourself at this moment? Like, let's say you're so stuck on the negative thinking. What would that mentor tell you? What would that optimistic person tell you? How would they handle things? What would they advise you to do? Or what would they advise you to, how to go with whatever circumstance you're dealing with? What would they say to you? Step into those shoes and really think about it. Take the time to sit with yourself and choose, first of all, not to be stuck on that negative thoughts, because the more you go into it, the worse it's going to get. And I think that's the first thing to catch, that you've already been there so long and you've been doing this for so long, and it gives you the same result all the time. So let's start shifting it, right? So whenever you're in that circumstance, think to yourself, what would this person tell me? If you don't have anybody around you that could advise you right there and then, what advice would they give you? What technique would they say to use? How would you go about it if that person was there advising you? Like, what would they tell you? It's a good way to get in touch with the wisdom within you. We can even just, sit and take time to take deep meditative breaths and get in touch with the wise person within you, and really let that inner you guide you, because the inner you that guides you through wisdom knows how to handle the mind, knows how to handle the emotions. So if you can tap into that, it's a very important skill that you need to learn. I think everybody needs to learn how to do that, especially when we're going through such difficult times, when we're going through all kinds of trials and tribulations. I can't stop saying that for some reason. It's like all these trials and tribulations everybody's going through right now. It's crazy. And the ones that are not going through trials and tribulations, I'm pretty sure they already been there. So, everybody goes through this stuff. So we need to learn to stand strong for ourselves, by ourselves, and learn how to reframe our minds, reframe that negative thinking, because we've been so accustomed, so domesticated into thinking a certain way. Now it's time to reframe it, and reframing it is not easy. It takes a lot of practice. I mean, I spoke about this on my prior video. It takes a lot of practice, and nobody can do it for you. You gotta do it by yourself. You have to do the job for you. Nobody else can do it for you. All we can do is support you. We can advise you. We can, point the way. But at the end of the day, nobody can do this for you. You have to do it for yourself. So it's very important that you start tapping from within yourself, and start shifting this negative patterns of thinking, this negative energy that you keep feeding through getting stuck in that negative mindset that rambles off and explodes your negative emotions, all based on assumption most of the time. So if you can tap into the wise person within you, because everybody, all of us, every single human has a wiser person within us. We just need to take the time to go in there. Quiet, deep breaths, and tap in to that wise person within you. and say, okay, what do I do? How do I handle this, right? So if you don't have that mentor, that person that supports you and guides you or whatever, you got to tap within and say, God, help me. Show me the way, like help me do this for myself. Help me, help me. That makes sense to me. But okay, let's move on. All right, number 6. Flip the script. I love this. Just flipping the script on that negative thought that you've already won a big, huge lap. If you're thinking, oh, I can't do this, your mind automatically goes into, that's right, we can't do this. It ain't happening. It's not happening. And then your emotions start bubbling up and, oh, just useless. I can't do this. And blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, you're so deep in that thought that it's a total assumption. It's false. It's a total lie. Because you didn't even give the thought a chance to shift into the possibilities of end. What if I can do this, and then I can do that, and then I can... You didn't even try, right? So flipping the script on this negative thought from I can't do this to, wait, maybe I can do it like that. And maybe I can try this. And maybe I can do that. It's a whole other energy flow when you start reframing that mindset into, from I can't into, well, maybe I can do this, or maybe I can do it that way. So flipping the script on this negative thought, just switch it. If you start practicing this, you'll get so good that once that negative thought pops up, you automatically switch it. It's like a switch. And those that have mastered those thoughts already know what I'm talking about. That negative thought comes at you and you automatically just switch it. It just becomes normal to you. So flip the script on that negative thought. Catch it. If you can catch it, you can question it, and you can flip it. You can flip it real quick if you choose to. The only way it's not going to shift is when you choose not to shift it. I mean, you're in total control of your negative thoughts. You are in total control of any negative thinking. Completely. And the trick of it is your awareness. If you're not aware of your negative thoughts, you don't catch them. I mean, you're completely oblivious to that energy that controls your whole entire being. Because once that negative thought starts blooming and growing legs, hands, and everything else, your whole being becomes chaos. All right, moving on. So, reframe that I can't to why not? Why not? Why can't I? Said who? I questioned it. Like, just question it. Put it on the spot. Like, what do you mean I can't? All right. You can change it from, all right, well, if it's difficult, I just haven't mastered that yet, right? I just haven't improved on it yet. But with effort and plenty of practice, guess what's going to happen? You're going to become a master of your thoughts. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be able to just flip the script on those thoughts. All right, number 7. Visualize positive outcomes. Again, back to the flat tire. Once you find yourself in this situation or whatever, you can automatically start thinking of outcomes, right? When you start thinking about solutions, You can automatically, your mind can automatically go into this visualization of what the outcome is going to look like. And it's a beautiful thing if you can get that far into, flipping the script on these negative thoughts. Just replacing that negative thinking with positive visions or visualization of just positive imaging, you know, just like being successful on you see the tire completely fixed back in your car, you're just running off into the sunset with a brand new tire. um, yeah, and sometimes I know it sounds delusional because it is. I mean, that's what visualizing things in the future is about. You don't always stay in that state, but that state is useful to you to changing that negative mindset. Changing, if you can change the negative thought, you don't go into negative emotions, and then you can go on your merry way, and then have more joy and more peace in your life, because that negative thought robs you from your joy, robs you from your peace, robs you from everything else. I mean, it's like that Bible verse says, right? It comes to do what? Not, it comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what the negative thoughts do, because it goes into the negative emotion. And before you know it, wham, all hell breaks loose. So whenever you visualize in a positive way, in a positive outcome, that shifts your energy, that influences your emotions to have a positive outcome, versus you focusing on the negative outcome. Because either way, whatever you focus on, you're going to give life to. You focus so much on the negative side of things, and what do? You start visualizing, right? You start thinking about this, and you're seeing all this negative blah blah blah, and that's what you're giving life to. So if you can shift it and influence your whole being from shifting that negative thought, reframing it, and shifting it, it'll produce positive emotions. It'll produce positive outcomes, and you get to keep your peace and your joy, right? The more you do this, the more you're going to notice your own behavior shift. Your own energy is going to start shifting. And again, I know it's not going to be from one day to the other. Of course not. It don't happen that way. But it's a constant practice. It's a constant practice that we do on a daily basis. It's constant. I mean, that's not going to stop until we stop. It's not going to end until we end. Okay? So, we're almost done. Number 8, use affirmations. And this is a very positive way of reframing your negative thinking, because you put it into your psyche. Remember, all this negative thinking that we are naturally bound to is because we've been in a negative environment for so long that it has been ingrained in our psyche. So now we have a hard time, even catching the negative thought, because it became so normal to us. It became so comfortable to us. It's ridiculous. But because that negative thought got so fed, it was fed over and over and over through affirmations too. That automatic negative thinking that you go into was created and was ingrained in your psyche by negative affirmations. When people would tell you negative stuff and you believed it, they would tell you over and over. Like if somebody tells you ever since you're a child, and I think most of us that are going through the real inner work of the soul and healing, our wounds, I think that we all go through the belittling that we go through when we're children, the bullying that takes place not only at home, not only with parents, but at school, with other school kids and teachers. I mean, the teachers, for God's sake, it's the teacher's supposed to be there to help the children. But I mean, fact is, and let's be real, and I'm not going into this negative stuff of, throwing stuff at teachers. No, we have some amazing, beautiful, wonderful teachers, but we do have those teachers that shouldn't be a teacher at all, because instead of lifting a child up, they bring a child down with their criticism and their bullying, because teachers bully kids too. I remember. So all that automatic negative thinking that we are dealing with now, it grew because of negative affirmations coming from everywhere. Like I said, not only our parents, our siblings, schools, bullies. If you went to church, I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, So, of course, our psyche goes into automatic negativeness. It's a part of society. It's like so normalized that we don't even see how destructive it is, right? So now to shift that and to reframe that negative thinking, we must use positive affirmations. We got to start shifting the negative thought the same way it got there, by shifting it. Now we shift it with positive affirmations. Just counter-attack the negative thought. Just counter-attack it every time it pops up. Every time it pops up, there you go. Give it to it. I think everybody deals with. I'm not sure. I mean, even the most assertive and self-confident person deals with unworthiness, right? Because everything we've been through. I mean, even the strongest narcissist or psychotic person out there deals with that, right? I mean, that's how their psyche got so bad into whatever state it is in, because of unworthiness, because we're not worthy of this, we're not worthy of that. And again, why is that thought in us? Because of society. Just it's a human thing. We normalized it. It's a normal thing. That don't mean it's the right thing. It's very destructive. So instead of saying, "Oh, I don't deserve this," I don't feel like I deserve this, or I'm unworthy of this, you can shift that by saying, "Why not me?" Like, my daughter told me that the other day. Not the other day, yesterday, actually. You can say, when that negative thinking starts and tries to begin to sabotage you, you say, "Wait a minute, why not me? I am worthy. I do deserve this. I do deserve peace. I do deserve happiness. I do deserve love. I do deserve this." Why? Because it's my God-given birthright. Who's going to take it from you? Stop taking it from yourself. Because if you don't think you are worthy of having positive thoughts, if you don't think you are worthy of having peace in your heart, if you don't think you are worthy of having happiness in your life, if you yourself don't think that you are worthy of whatever, you got to start changing that. You can't. I'm not even going to go there, but you got to start shifting that negative belief, those negative thoughts, those negative diminishing thoughts that just automatically try to end you. Because the more you feed them, the worse they get. The more you feed them, the less you become. The more you feed them, the more you diminish yourself. And it's an awful place to be. So I suggest that, instead of saying, no, I don't deserve this, no, this, like going into automatic negative mode, start challenging those thoughts, start challenging them, start shifting them, start questioning them, like, and go with true facts, like, everybody deserves happiness, everybody deserves peace, everybody deserves, that's why we are all breathing still, right? Because we're here by divine birthright. We're here to fully embrace our journey in a positive way. We already have plenty of negative. We're in the middle of a spiritual warfare that nobody sees, that a lot of people don't see. It's like all of our being is being so diminished ever since we're so young, and when we grow older, it's like it becomes part of you and you think it's freaking normal, and it's not normal. You have all these negative thoughts that just bring you down, all these negative thoughts that start diminishing you, that start diminishing your life, that start, just it nips away of your beautiful God-given essence. And if you don't start shifting that, then you end up bitter, you end up angry, you end up so empty inside, and that's not cool. That's not what God gave us to live. We can shift that. It's not difficult to shift it. It does take hard work, of course. But if you love yourself, if you give yourself a little bit of love, a little bit of compassion, and you say to yourself, wait, I deserve more than this. I deserve more than to be in a negative state of mind. I deserve to laugh. I deserve to fully, embrace my journey with pure joy from in here. You deserve that, because that's your God-given birthright. If you do not have compassion and love for yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. You have to do the work yourself. Like it or not, the same way that we put all our energy into that negative thinking is the same way that we start, shifting into the positive side of things. And it's a beautiful thing. So use as much positive affirmations as you can. Again, it's not difficult. You can write your own personal affirmations. Like if you feel like, well, I'm not good at this, then shift that. Write down, get paper, pen, and start writing. And shift that thought. Shift it. Shift that psyche. And just reframe the whole darn thing. Because you can. Why not? Why not you? Tell me, why not you? I think everybody deserves to be at peace, to have a balanced state of mind, a balanced state of being, a balanced state of emotions, just a way of flowing in a balanced way. It's a beautiful thing. And nobody can do it for you but you. Nobody's going to do this for you. Yes, all the damage that has been ingrained in us and has took so much from us, nobody can replace that, right? Nobody can bring us back to our natural state. Nobody's going to, bring back whatever they took from us from in here. Nobody's going to give us back how much they took from in here. Nobody's going to give it back. Be realistic. It's our job to get it back. It's our job to get everything that was taken from us. We can get it back. We can get it back ourselves. But we have to do the work. We have to start shifting that negative thought, that negative thinking, those negative diminishing thoughts. Start reframing them with positive affirmation after positive affirmation after positive affirmation after positive affirmation, because that's the way it's going to shift. That's the way it's going to shift. That's the only way. If you don't start speaking to yourself in a positive way and start catching those negative thoughts and start shifting them for yourself, nobody else can do it for you. You got to do the work. You got to do the work for you. Once you start doing the work for you, it's going to be a beautiful thing, and you're going to wish you would have started on that sooner. That's all I'm going to say on that one. So, all right, I'm taking too long. So that was your 8 steps of how to reframe your negative thinking, all right? Number 1, catch and challenge the negative thoughts. Number 2, turn problems into opportunities. Instead of thinking on what's wrong, on what's going wrong, think about what's going right. Number 3, use and instead of but. Number 4, practice gratitude. Practice a lot of gratitude. Just like affirmations, practice a lot of gratitude. Number 5, step into someone else's shoes. Whenever you don't have anybody there, step into, the role of what would that person tell me on how to go about this. Number 6, flip the script. Flip it real quick, because it'll flip on you, okay? Number 7, visualization of a positive outcome instead of going into the negative visualization of the outcome. And number 8, affirmations. So there you go, guys. I hope that was helpful to you. And if you resonated with any of these, I hope that whatever I put out here in this video, I hope it helps you. And I hope it's a good skill for you to start working more on yourself and start shifting your own mentality and your own emotions, because you're going to be so grateful that you did. Again, if y'all need any assistance, any help with any of this stuff, if it resonated with you, I'm here. We can explore more of what you're dealing with or whatever. Again, when I come on here and I offer my assistance and my help, it's not to say, all right, well, I'm an expert on this or whatever, I know more than you do, or no, it's not that way. I can just assist and help you with what I've already been through. I've already, conquered this area of my life. So now I can give you the tools for you to do that. And everything is done in how do you call it? Oh, goodness. The word just left me. I don't know. You can email me. It is completely private. It'll be just a one-on-one. If y'all are needing any type of support, any type of just whatever, we can even tailor a plan for you, where you can go through your own process. I'm just going to be there pushing you and saying, go rah rah, just we can tailor a whole, or map out a whole unique, whatever works for you kind of thing, because you're going through your own process, right? So again, you can reach out to me. We can do no more than 5-minute recording of affirmations. We can personalize them. We can both go through them together. It don't take that long. I'm here. Reach out if you need to, okay? I hope that this helped whoever comes across this. Stay blessed and keep working on yourself. Don't give up or take another route of, no, I can't do this, because you can. Believe me, I've been there And I know our journeys are different, but there's no difference between your breath and my breath, and in the life that we keep lifing every day, right? So reach out if you need to. Yeah, stay blessed out there and keep on shifting those negative thoughts, because it's not an easy thing to do. All right. I love y'all. Stay blessed. Be safe out there. And until next time.